Good morning and welcome to this session, and we will begin our webinar shortly. Good morning, and again, welcome to this webinar for the North St. Louis Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program. My name is Lance Knuckles, Senior Vice President of Strategic Growth for the St. Louis Development Corporation. It is my privilege to host this webinar on the North St. Louis Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program. This webinar is designed to provide an update, overview, and next steps for this program. This webinar is a result of Neighborhood Transformation team members' ongoing engagement with businesses and the St. Louis community, sharing that clear and consistent communication creates the opportunity to be informed and build confidence within the process and the program. On behalf of our CEO, Neil Richardson, the St. Louis Development Board of Directors, and staff, we thank you for your partnership in transforming our great city together. Today's webinar will be recorded and posted on the program website, and the URL for that website is www.developstlouis.org/NSTL Small Biz Grants. Again, this webinar will be posted at www.developstlouis.org/NSTL Small Biz with a Z Grants.com. In addition, we will not be taking questions during this session. However, please add questions into the chat function and we will provide responses to those questions with an updated FAQ located on the program website within 5 business days. Again, we will not be taking direct questions during the webinar, but your questions can be posted in the chat function and we will respond to those questions along with others within our FAQ that will be located on the program website within 5 business days. Today's agenda. Our session will cover the following topics: and content, with the focus on communication of the what, why, and how you will be engaged as a business owner participating within the program review and selection process. These topics are important for you to understand every step in this journey as we move towards activating this program strategically to support small businesses within the city of St. Louis. This program is supported and managed by St. Louis Development Corporation. We are a 501c4 and act as the economic development arm of the city of St. Louis, along with staffing 9 development boards that support, inform, and influence economic development activities within the city. And we exist to empower, develop, transform St. Louis into a vibrant, just, and growing economy where all people can thrive. The Economic Justice Action Plan has been activated for the purpose to provide a roadmap, strategy, and a theory of change to activate all stakeholders, but clearly defining the role of SODC as an agent of change to ignite and facilitate transformation within the city of St. Louis, with a clear set of defined goals and metrics to capture activity and to measure progress. The Economic Justice Action Plan has a foundation built upon 3 pillars of work that are activated together to align efforts and activity to ensure effective, efficient, and equitable outcomes for residents and businesses within the city. This provides SODC the opportunity to have ongoing engagement around these pillars for residents and businesses like yourself to really understand how the Economic Justice Action Plan works to support your growth and development into the future. The North St. Louis Grant Program is specific and is designed to operationalize to align 5 goals of the Economic Justice Action Plan to achieve economic empowerment for businesses. The intentionality behind this program is to ensure that we're strengthening neighborhoods supporting business, that business owners are able to close the wealth gap for themselves and the employees that they employ, and that where businesses are located, able to improve health outcomes and also educational outcomes for families and children to engage in a growing and thriving economy. As well as this program is designed to support businesses to further contribute to the tax base of the city of St. Louis. And finally, as we look to grow and support businesses, we're able to attract residents from other parts of the country, more specifically other places, to grow our population, to actually enhance and reduce the economic tax burden for city members in the city of St. Louis. This program is a product of legislation that was designed to allocate $37 million of coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds to the St. Louis Development Corporation for the administration of the North St. Louis Small Business Grant and Nonprofit Program, originally defined by Board Bill 82 and amended later in the 23-24 session in Board Bill 37. This program was legislated to bring forth some really good opportunities for businesses. One, intended to impact more important, let me say this differently for you all. This program was designed to provide support to businesses who've been adversely impacted by COVID. As we know, underinvested communities across the city have not received the type of investment, and the coronavirus actually exposed the fact that the supply chain efforts are more greatly impacting small businesses and underinvested communities. So this program is designed to support those businesses on or north of Del Mar who have been adversely impacted. In addition, this program is designed to support and provide knowledge building and capacity building for small businesses, as well as to help transform the built environment within the community for residents to witness and realize how economic development can be realized within their community. I want to take a moment and talk about the geographic eligibility for this program. It's very important to understand that in North St. Louis, the Economic Justice Action Plan has defined demonstration areas as well as economic justice index areas that help inform decision-making. For this program, however, businesses that are located on or north of Delmar are eligible for the program. Businesses located in a HUD-designated qualified census tract or located within an SODC-designated economic justice index area of 1 and 2. Ostensibly, these geographic eligibility boundaries allow all businesses north of Delmar to be eligible for this program. It is really important to understand that this program is designed for businesses that currently exist within the community, first and foremost, as a part of supporting growth and opportunity. So I'll say again, these three primary functions around geographic eligibility include businesses and nonprofits located on or north of Delmar, located in HUD-qualified census tracts, or located within an SLDC Economic Justice Index Area 1 or 2 north of Delmar. It is really important for me to give you that context. There are other Economic Justice Index areas of 1 and 2. However, this legislation supports EGI 1 and 2 areas that are on or north of Delmar. As we think about moving the program forward, it's really important to understand the components of this program. This program has been designed not only to build capacity and to move resources, but also to build a new built environment. The first component is capacity building, which is about small businesses receiving support, training, and education that would allow them to have a foundational knowledge of their financial position completed through a financial assessment, as well as the ability to engage in a training academy with our partners at Grow America. These two components make up what we're calling capacity building opportunities that are afforded to all businesses that have applied for the program and maintain eligibility to participate in the program. Then there is the component of the program which is small business stabilization grants. These grants will be focused on a first-come, first-served basis for both nonprofits and for-profit organizations as it relates to stabilizing their operational capacity as they have been impacted by COVID. The second part of the program is about small business expansion. This is a competitive grant where businesses need to complete the financial assessment and then develop and create projections that will be used to support the decision-making of how a business might be supported on a competitive way to move forward within the grant program to receive funds. So again, small business expansion grants are competitive in nature, and the stabilization grants are first come, first served. As we know, previous in our webinar, we defined clearly that this program was designed for businesses existing and are already located within the geographic eligibility area. As we recognize that North St. Louis can benefit from the opportunities of additional services, resources, and needs for communities to grow and thrive, a business who is currently located outside of the city and has site control of a location within the geographic boundary can participate within the competitive process of this program, filling a community need. I want to stress this is only for businesses that are established and expanding into the geographic eligibility where they currently have site control, or more specifically, had site control prior to the closing of the application of this grant program back in October of 2023. The final component of this training program includes community enhancement, which is about the built environment, both on a facade perspective, rehabilitation of an existing site, and or new construction. The community enhancement grants are competitive for both small businesses and nonprofits to help support the rehabilitation, the facade improvements, and redevelopment or development of a new site to expand and or grow business offerings within the North St. Louis area, more specifically within the eligible boundaries of the program. Keeping in mind, all of these programs have to adhere to eligible uses of funds and eligible expenditures that can be supported by the North St. Louis Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program as defined in Treasury rules and regulations for ARPA funds. Here we are at a moment in time to really provide a navigating way for businesses to understand where we've been and where we're going. We'll retrospectively look back. We started this journey back in May of 2022 with the ordinance of Board Bill 82 becoming law. We launched our first grant program that included operational stabilization and expansion and facade aspects of the community enhancement back on June 1. And in that process, we had approximately 227 businesses that applied prior to the launching of new legislation and a new application on August 1st of 2023. The application closed for the second application on October 30th. There was a request and call out for application information and document completeness that was targeted for December 15th. And just recently on February 15th, we have received SODC board approval to begin funding for the training and financial assessment not to exceed $10,000 for businesses to move forward. In addition, on February 16th, we began to move forward program update communications about status of your application and about today's webinar. Moving forward, there will be a set of one-on-one opportunities for file review and clearly understanding where you are as a business within this small business and grant program journey. And those sessions will begin starting March 4th through March 29th. We're also moving forward and communicating at this moment in time for all the competitive parts of the program. There will be a deadline of April the 15th of having all documentation submitted to SLDC and our consultant partner at Morgan Graves Consulting, who will be our partner to help move this program forward and enhance our capacity to respond and execute and communicate more effectively with businesses moving forward. Again, as we have realized that communication is key to our success in building a strong relationship with businesses within the city of St. Louis as we move forward with this program. The next section of our conversation will be focused on the steps and the process for non-competitive grants. Again, there are two components. There are competitive grants and non-competitive grants, and we'll start our journey with the non-competitive grants. The capacity building and training and financial assessment and stabilization program are the programs that are non-competitive. And so I'm going to walk through the journey, and then we're going to take a journey step by step as to what happens in each one of these steps in the journey, and then move into our conversation about the competitive grants. So step one is the application. Step two is geographic eligibility. Step three is business one-on-ones. Step four is business viability assessment. Step five becomes the place where businesses can move simultaneously, participating in the Training and Education Academy and working with our partners at Grow America to complete your financial assessment. Again, we've secured two partners in this program, one in Morgan Graves Consulting, which will be our partner to communicate with businesses around business viability and conducting the business one-on-ones. And we've gathered a partnership with Grow America, which some of you have already begun to engage if you apply for this grant program in the first round of applications. And they will be engaging with you to assist you in completing your financial assessment and putting together all the appropriate documents to help inform your financial position of where you are as a business. Step 6 is funding validation and approval. Step 7 is CBI clearance. Step 8 is a grant agreement that defines and shapes the relationship of how funds will move. And then step 9 is a funding disbursement. So these are the 9 steps that are required to be completed for a business to start the program and then move to funding. And however, post step 9, there will be compliance periods that will be defined within each grant agreement based upon the dollar amounts that you received and based upon the eligible use and funds that you're moving forward with as a benefactor of this grant program. So again, step 1 will move fast. The purpose of the application was to ensure that all businesses had an equal platform to submit their business case and be considered based upon geographic eligibility in the work. And the trigger to the next step was submitting the application prior to both deadlines that were provided for this grant program. Step 2 is geographic eligibility. Really, the purpose is focused on SODC verifying businesses' operating address is within the program geographic boundaries. I'm going to stress again that geographic eligibility is based upon the business's operating address within the city limits. Whereas if you have a business location, it is not where you store and or monitor or keep your business records. That would not be constituted as your business operating address. So please understand that that will be a part of the business viability assessment to verify operating address for the program and not a temporary address that might be used to activate or participate within the grant program. And the thing that moves you forward is that we've identified and clearly understand that your business operating address is within the geographic eligibility of the program. And those eligibilities are on or north of Delmar, in HUD qualified census tracts, and or within an economic justice index area 1 or 2 in North St. Louis, north of Delmar. Step 3, business one-on-one sessions. SODC and Morgan Graves Consultants use this opportunity to verify file completeness and review, and as we move forward, more specifically, ensuring that we engage small businesses to confirm and verify the program in which you want to participate, meaning if you are choosing the stabilization pathway forward, or if you are choosing expansion pathway forward, and or if you're choosing any one of the areas that are associated with community enhancement. There will be an affidavit to clearly state and document what program you are moving forward in, and then as you move forward, it will be clearly defined about how your steps move forward, and it will be provided to you to ensure that you understand the journey and the process. And so in order for you to move on, you need to have a completed document of file completeness and the completeness of the review process before you can move on to step 4. Step 4 is the business viability assessment. Our partners at Morgan Graves Consulting will actually do a site visit and engage with each business owner to understand operational addresses, to understand how your business moves, how are you leveraging your business site, and ensuring all the documents that are defined as your business being an established business are verified within your file. In order for you to move, you would have to have a complete file with supportive documents and a signed and dated completed viability assessment by Morgan Graves Consultant prior to you moving forward. And again, just as a reference, some of you may have engaged with NDC, Neighborhood Development Corporation, who is now known as Grow America. And if you are now applying for this program after August 1st, you will begin your journey of engagement with Morgan Graves Consulting. And so they will be your partners who will engage with you. And I ask that you hold steadfast. They will begin to engage with you as we move through hosting this webinar and providing you all the pathway for work as you move forward. Step 5 is the Training Academy. It is really important for Grow America to provide businesses an opportunity to get additional business acumen, additional support to understand management and operation of your business, to allow you to create strategies to move forward in a competitive market, and to allow your business to move from a sustainability perspective to a growth perspective. And so this, again, the training component runs concurrently with the financial assessment. And so these two things may happen at the same time. While you're taking the academy, those sessions can take up to 8 weeks. And so rather than you wait to complete that training program or academy, you can begin to engage in your journey with Grow America around completing your financial assessment. The financial assessment is really to understand where you sit as a business, to understand the impacts of COVID over the last 3 years, and also to understand your financial position through a set of financial documents, including your budget, your projections, your income statement, and your balance sheet are all tools that the training and education provided through the Academy and Grow America, supporting you to be able to put in place to understand your position and leverage that financial assessment as a way for SLDC to begin to explore how we would fund competitive grants and also our first come, first served grants. And again, in order to move forward to the next step, Grow America will provide SLDC the completed financial assessment in order for you to move forward. Funding, validation, and approval. At this moment in time, as we mentioned earlier in our presentation, we're in a position to begin to move forward to start to fund the capacity building and stabilization aspects of this program. More specifically, SLDC verifies completion of training and or the financial assessment, and then that would trigger our ability to begin to engage with you to explore moving forward. SLDC will also review financial assessments and overlay program funding criteria and begin to assess how businesses who are applying for the non-competitive component that applied before the August 1st deadline, those businesses will be the first to be considered on that first come, first served basis, whereas they applied for the program prior to the relaunch of August 1st, 2023. And the trigger moving forward is our ability to have the program funding eligibility overlay, and then that information can be communicated to each businesses that meet those thresholds. CBI clearance. CBI clearance is important, whereas as any business receiving state and or federal funds, you must be in good standing with the Business License Office and the Collector of Revenue. In previous moments, the CBI clearance may have been completed by you as a business owner. As we move forward, SLDC will be partnering with those offices to secure the CBI clearance on your behalf. That allows us to move more expeditiously, and it allows us to not have those offices be inundated with businesses being able to reconcile. I will say, however, if it is communicated to you as a business owner that you did not pass CBI clearance with either one or both of the offices, you will be communicated that information, and then you will be required to engage both of those offices to ensure you have the right information and can resolve whatever issues you may have with either the collector of revenue or the business license office. But again, as we move forward in the program, checking the CBI status is a responsibility that SODC will take on as we move forward, and businesses are only required to engage if you are unsuccessful in passing the CBI clearance. The grant agreement. Here's where things get real or serious. This is where we define the terms of the grant agreement, we define the eligible uses of funds, we define and support your budget, and then that is what we frame into the agreement that defines the terms and conditions of how you can use those funds and how SLDC will monitor compliance on the funds you receive in any program. The thing that moves forward is there will be a DocuSign grant agreement with designated eligible expenses and use of funds that would allow you to move forward. This is a document that not only has the agreement in terms, but it also has your signature, and it has an attached budget about how you will move forward and use the funds that you will be a benefactor of the funds from this program. So this is a very key moment in time to ensure that we're aligned on the program, the source of funds that you will be using, and the things you will be using the funds for as you move forward, where this agreement is a binding agreement around how you use these funds, both with SODC and how you operate your business. Step 9 is disbursement of funds. And in this moment in time, based upon what is designed and articulated in a signed grant agreement by both the business owner and SODC leadership, we would disperse funds to your business based upon defined terms and agreements within your grant agreement. As a part of that, we will be securing information from you as a business owner about ACH payment routing and the business owner and the account information to ensure that we can make the ACH deposit into your business bank account. So that took us through the steps of the non-competitive process. We will begin to move forward in the competitive grant programs and understand that some of these steps are similar in nature, and I may move through them a little more swiftly, but we'll focus on a few more ideas and thoughts on the differences between the non-competitive grants and the competitive grants to ensure we provide clarity around the expectation and the steps in the journey for the competitive grant process. Again, I'll do a quick walk overview of the steps, and you may notice there are more steps in this process than within the non-competitive process. First step, application. Step 2, geographic eligibility. Step 3, small business one-on-one sessions. Step 4, business viability assessment. Step 5, again, dual track of training academy and financial assessment work. Step 6, funding validation. Step 7, funding approval. Step 8, CBI clearance. Step 9, grant agreement. And step 10, funding disbursement. As you look at this information, the funding validation and funding approval are separated, whereas there is a competitive process which requires a secondary group of leaders and staff members at SLDC to review and score the applications prior to allocating funding for businesses who've applied for expansion and community enhancement / facade, because these are the competitive parts of the small business and nonprofit grant program. Again, step 1 is the application, submitting an application and having that application be submitted prior to any deadline that has been provided for submitting the grant application. Step 2, again, geographic eligibility, focused on the operating address of a business within the program geographic boundaries. And that operating address is the address where files and/or records are stored and actual operational activity of a business takes place. And again, in order to move forward, there has to be an operating address verified as geographically eligible. Step 2, again, business one-on-one session. This is SODC and Morgan Graves Consulting, verifying the program you selected and making sure that your file is completed and prepared to move forward. This is a critical moment, again, whereas we need a signed affidavit of what program you are choosing to compete in or not compete in to ensure that we use the steps appropriate with your business as you move forward. And so the trigger is actually attending a one-on-one session and having a completed documentation status. Step 4 is business viability assessment. Again, working with Morgan Graves Consulting to conduct that business viability assessment and a site visit to verify where records are stored, to verify operating information on your business, and then also to make sure that your file is complete, all your supportive documents are in place, and you have that completed viability assessment in order for you to move to the next step in the process of the grant program. Again, individuals who applied prior to 8/1 may have started this process with Grow America, formerly NBC. As we move forward, all businesses will be engaged with Morgan Graves Consulting as your business viability assessment partner to ensure you have all the appropriate documentation to move forward within the grant program. Again, Step 5A, Training Academy, which is the 8-week process that you're able to start to build your capability and capacity and understand your financial position. Step 5B is the financial assessment, which is a partnership with Grow America working with you to collect financial documents to support you defining the impact of COVID to your business, identifying revenue and items of your business success over the last 3 years, and then providing a completed financial assessment which clearly defines the impact of COVID and your operational capacity, and in this case, your ability to move forward in expansion or any other competitive program related to your business opportunity. Funding validation. The SODC Review Committee reviews and rates all financial assessments, application narrative, budgets, and program overlays. This is a moment in time that veers from the non-competitive program where we've created 2 different pools of leaders reviewing to ensure equitable review of applications that are competing in this process. And in the funding validation step, the program overlays are applied on all applications, and then those applications are scored and rated, leveraging the financial assessment and all other documentation that have been submitted to SODC through our partners, Morgan Graves Consulting, and or our partners at Grow America. Funding approval. Within funding approval, SODC Selection Committee, Substantial Awards Committee, and or SODC Board of Directors approves funding validations provided by the SODC Review Committee. This is really important for a competitive process. In addition, if funding allocations are large in nature, we're thoughtfully reviewing to ensure that there's equitable distribution of funds for opportunities to ensure that we support business in an equitable way as we move forward. Again, to move forward from funding approval, we will have to secure approval at all levels. Again, the SODC Selection Committee, the Substantial Awards Committee, and or the SODC Board in order to move forward in the program. Step 8, again, is the CBI clearance that ensures each business who is seeking to receive funds, both state or local or federal, are required to have good standing with the license collector's office and the business license office in order to move forward. As stated previously, SODC is taking ownership of that validation process and CBI clearance with both of those offices. In the event that a business is unsuccessful of passing the CBI clearance with either one or both offices, you will be communicated about that information and asked to engage either of those offices to reconcile any issues you may have prior to your ability to move forward in the grant program and or potentially receive funding as a part of the North St. Louis Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program. The grant agreement. Again, as mentioned before, formally defined requirements and compliance related to receiving funds within the selected program will be clearly defined. In this case, on the competitive side, it will be potentially your capacity building, as well as expansion and community need and or community enhancement based upon the program in which you are competing within the grant program. And again, as previously stated, the way to move forward in this program is to have a signed DocuSign grant agreement with the designated eligible expenses and use of funds, along with the aligned budget to support that. And then we come to step 10, which is about funding disbursement. And again, disbursement will be made based upon the grant agreement and leveraging information provided by you about a way for us to provide secured ACH payments, information to you or from you to us to be able to make whatever payments based upon your grant agreement. There may be grant agreements or businesses that may have multi-year or multi-stage grant agreements based upon the size and or nature of the grant program that you are awarded funds within. And so it's really important to understand that having a signed grant agreement is the important step in the journey in order to move to formal funding and disbursement of funds as awarded through the selection committee and or any other approval committee within SODC. So I want to take a step back and really engage with some of the steps in the journey that are important to highlight as we move forward, and all businesses will begin to receive communication about these steps within the next 10 business days. First step in that journey is a one-on-one review with SODC staff and Morgan Gray staff in sessions that will be hosted at the Northside Economic Empowerment Center starting in March. Again, know that there will be email communication around the start dates and the dates that you can select, because each event will require you to reserve a space on a first-come, first-served basis and will be limited to 30 businesses per session, and registration is required. Again, these one-on-one sessions are mandatory. The mandatory nature of these sessions are to ensure document completeness. We have documented verification of what program you are moving forward in, and we provide you where you are in the journey and the next steps and thresholds that you have to cross as a business owner to continue your journey within this program. Here's how you can get ready for the one-on-one sessions. If you have already provided some of these documents, great, and thank you for that effort. If you have not, and or if you have, it would be in your best interest to just have these documents on hand in your one-on-one session to ensure that when you leave a one-on-one session, all of the required documents are in the hands of SLDC and our partners, Morgan Grave Consultants, to ensure that you are prepared to move to the next step. I'm going to run through these clearly to have it verbalized in this webinar for folks to ensure that you have what you need. For nonprofit businesses, you have to have your city business license or letter of indefinite exemption, address supporting documentation, light bill, gas bill, anything that can verify your business address and where you're operating, a SAM.gov unique ID, federal tax ID number, or your social security number if you are a sole proprietor, a state-issued photo ID, drivers or non-drivers, articles of incorporation with the Missouri Secretary of State, Missouri sales and use tax waiver, list of current board members, and nonprofit bylaws, application budget, and assigned selected grant agreement, a selection statement. And again, I just want to mention the last two items here are things that we will gather and do with you, is the signed grant agreement selection statement and the application budget are things that we will work with you on during that session. And for-profit businesses, city business license, address supporting document, SAM.gov unique ID, federal tax ID number or EIN, or social security number if you are a sole proprietor, state-issued photo ID, drivers or non-drivers, and then again, the application budget, and then signed grant selection statement. These documents are all important to ensure that we have all the documents we need outside of the financial documents that our partner at Grow America will engage with you on to begin your process of completing the financial assessment. And so we're getting to a conclusion of our time together today. Again, this recording will be posted on the program website at developstlouis.org/NSTL Small Biz Grants within the next 10 business days to ensure that we have time to have all questions and comments raised in this webinar put into an FAQ. Please continue to monitor your emails for updates as we move forward. As you may be aware, we have moved from the SLDC grants web email address to nstl@stlm-mo.gov. This is to ensure clear, open, and consistent communication as you communicate about your business opportunity and or steps within this journey. Anytime you are emailing information to SLDC, whereas email will be the primary focus of communication outside of our business one-on-ones, please include in the subject line your business name and the business owner's name to ensure that we can track your email communication and keep all communication related to your application and your file in one place to ensure that we can gather information effectively and retain it in perpetuity. And again, the next thing you should be looking for is email communication to schedule your one-on-one review when you are ready. And so there will be different groupings of setting those schedules. So please check your email and you will be informed about the group that you're participating in and the selection of times that you might participate in one of those one-on-one training sessions, which are mandatory to ensure that we move forward and support you within this grant program. So with that, I want to say thank you for all of your hard work. Thank you for your patience. We will continue to communicate program changes and updates through the email and through the program website as we move forward. Thank you so very much and have a wonderful day.